The secret of success is to do the common things uncommonly well. John D. Rockefeller. My friends, we see big pullbacks in stocks, in Bitcoin, gold. Everything is pulling back except for bonds, up about 0.5%. Let's jump first into the S&P 500. Check out the volume. Over the last, 5 weeks now, we have seen decent volume on the S&P 500 as it has been peaking and then rolling over. We have actually, this is the first day of the latest 2-day candle, so it's actually 4.5. Well, I guess we could count the doji here. We started pushing through on the 2-day candle back on the 2nd. That'd be the 2nd and the 3rd of April. Then we had 4. We're only halfway through the last of those. So somewhere between 7 days and 8 days of down movement below the weekly trend line. And of course, we can see those depicted on the half-day chart. And of course, big downs on Friday, which is what we were waiting to see happen. Now, again, we had the peak volume. We had the peak price. I mean, we've seen it peaking up these last 3 weeks, actually. And then this week with average volume rolling over. Now, is it a super strong down move as far as the weekly candle goes? No, but it is a down move, and we have it backed up by the 2-day. Now, we saw, if we go all the way back to the beginning of the year, a doji that first week of this year. Then the market turned back around. I don't know if it's going to be doing that. It may not go down very long, but again, it has given us the signs of a down move. How many of you pulled the trigger on a practice trade going to something like SH on a down move? Now again, SH, it's up as we see the S&P 500 going down. Look at all the volume this week. Now again, we don't trade off this chart, or at least I don't. I trade off the big chart. This is the inverse chart. Doesn't have anywhere near the volume. And again, I like to see what the overall market is doing on the big chart, SPY. But again, it's always good to look at this one. And of course, you can see as the up move is building on that 2-day chart, and as we have potentially reached a bottom on SH and a top on SPY. Let's look at where we are with the NASDAQ 100. Not quite as clear. We had a doji last week, another doji this week. We're at average volume both weeks. Again, we had that peak volume and then trying to roll over down 1.59%. Again, you could call this a topper and a down move, but it's, again, like the S&P. It's not as iffy as the S&P, but still, it's more iffy than the S&P. It's a close one. So again, we'll watch as the week develops. You don't have to pull the trigger right away. If this is going to be a strong down move on either one of these, it is going to give you more of a chance to jump in. Now, the last times we saw this market trying to pull back, it did so for very, very short periods. At some point, of course, it will reach the top and it will be a strong, hard down move. Could that be starting? It could. Or again, with all the money that's been printed and all the inflation, it could just be a digestion point, and then things will start moving back up. So again, how do we protect ourselves? Well, we jump into a down trade. We set our loss parameters. We pay attention to our charts. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's why we use things like the ATR on the 2-day chart to set our loss parameter. And of course, the always winning method. We have all sorts of ways, to deal with volatility by reducing the size of your trade based upon the volatility and by setting your profit and loss parameters. It's not hard to do it the right way. And even if the market moves against you, you have prepared yourself so that you limit your losses. Remember, winning is more about limiting losses than being hyper-focused on having to win every time. You have to limit your losses when you don't win and then run those profits out like we have set up with our methods for what to do when you hit that one-time ATR on the profit. Sell half your trade and you let the remainder run. And again, it comes down to you practice trading and learning by doing. Let's see where we are on the one up spot for the day. Of course, we have higher than average volume this week, higher than last week with a nice down move, but we have a bit of a pull up in the U.S. 20-year government bonds. But again, still on a confirmed down move there, still short on that. Wasn't an easy choice. We didn't really have any kind of automatic trigger because we didn't have any volume to help us see where price was really going. But it is headed down now. Now let's look at where we are with gold. Gold down for the day 1.32%. Up in the morning and then pulled way back in the afternoon with all that volume in the morning and then pulling back strong, but nonetheless a big hyper up week. We are still long gold. Gold just bounding up. Now again, pullbacks can happen. Doesn't mean that's the end of the up move in gold, but we'll keep our eye on things. Now check out Bitcoin, particularly here at the end of the day. We saw Bitcoin back on the week beginning the 11th of March, talked about this many times, really just going through another week of hammering up, and then this week that really cut it off with that almost a doji there, that little bitty spinning top with lots of ranging, up and down. It's pretty much across there. Then up the next week, then another spinning top, then a spinning top this week. Now, still trying to edge up as far as the candle bodies go, but not as far as high price. And as we look at things, you can see the 2-day chart, don't have a lot of volume there. If we go to our 24-hour day Bitcoin, you can see where we have been below average volume for the last several weeks. We did have a lot of volume that first week after the blow off, after we hit that high of 73,794, almost 74,000 there. And then the next week blowing it off. And, just as we ended this week on the 24-hour day Bitcoin chart, we can see that we're now at a doji. So lots of indecision. And you can see throughout the course of the day on Friday, down in the morning starting at 9 a.m., then the 12:15 and the 3:30, this 195-minute chart just pounding down throughout the day. Right now down 4.29%. But like I said, HODL, which is the Bitcoin ETF, down 5.02%. What are we waiting for Bitcoin to do? I'm waiting and hoping it's going to go red on these weekly candles to reset for us and give us the ability to call another up move like it did here previously when it rolled back and then took off again. So we'll see. And again, it was much easier to see on the weekly chart where, the 24-hour a day weekly chart, where it pulled down and then started to take off again. So hopefully, even if it's just a couple of weeks of down movement, it might give us another point as Bitcoin could reset or just could haul ass and pull down for months on end. Don't know. But right now, short the S&P 500. We'll see where that takes us. Iffy on the NASDAQ 100, down on 20-year bonds, gold still long, and Bitcoin in question. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. You have questions, problems, concerns, we always love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com.